And first up, we're just going to do a little bit of wrist work just to loosen up the wrists, because it's a fair bit of loading through the wrists on the floor. That's the only thing about this. It does require a bit of flexibility of the wrists. And we'll just do circles. If you want to comment anything or ask any questions, just feel free to do it as we go, or at the end I'll have a look and see as well. All right, shake them out, and then we're gonna cover slightly different stuff to what we did last week. The first thing we're going to do is going from from this position. You're going to have your hands pointing backwards, fingers pointing backwards, knees bent. Okay, hopefully it's not too bad. And then you're going to bring your opposite hand and foot off the ground, and you're going to pivot on the ball of your foot on this side to basically land up in this position. So if I show you here, opposite hand and foot come up. You're going to pivot on the ball of this foot here, the foot that's on the ground. And all you're going to do is land up facing down on your hands and knees. And then you can do the reverse. So pick up the same hand and foot, pivot on the ball of your foot to land up on your hands and feet this way. So give that a go. It's a little bit of coordination and a little bit of strength to keep your shoulder nice and stable. Make sure you're always pushing away from the ground so that you're not sinking into your shoulder joint. You always want to stay activated and pushing away from the ground to make sure that you're not like caving into your shoulder joint. So that's just one thing to be aware of. So we'll just try and do 2 each side, going from facing up to facing down, and then back, pivoting on the ball of your foot. And then again, opposite hand and foot come up, pivoting on the ball of your foot, facing down, coming back to facing up. And then you can try and go the other way, so it might feel different going the other way. Opposite hand and foot come up, pivot, facing that way, and then coming back to the start. Opposite hand and foot come up, pivoting on the ball of your foot, facing down, coming back. Alright. Hopefully you guys are following along alright. So the next thing we're going to do is called a side kick through. So this is pretty much the start of it, is what we just did there. Starting on your hands and knees, you're going to bring your opposite hand and foot off the ground, but instead of going all the way around, you're going to basically pivot on the ball of your foot, put your heel down as a break, so you land up here, and then you're going to straighten that leg out, and you're just going to bring this arm back. And that's the end of the movement, and then you just basically reverse it to come back. So, opposite hand and foot come off the ground, pivot on the ball, heel down to break, and then you straighten the leg and just bring the arm back. So it just looks like that. And then you can try the other way. So opposite hand and foot come off the ground, pivot on the ball of your foot, heel down as a break, and then you're straightening out the leg and just pulling that arm back. So just try and do 1 or 2 on each side. So we'll alternate. Pivot on the ball of your foot, heel down to break, straighten the leg out, and then changing sides, and back. And then we're just going to shake the wrists out. How you guys going? All good? Let me know if you're not following along. Alright. So for any of you who were here last week, we did a scorpion reach, which is basically, just make sure you can see me okay. Basically start on your hands and knees in a plank position, and then you bring opposite knee to elbow, kick your leg back in an arc, and you just open up the hip, and then you bring it back to your knee to elbow. So you're basically just shifting. It's almost like a downward dog through the upper body. Your hip opens at the top, arcing the foot round, and you're keeping the foot that's on the ground, that knee stays a little bit bent, and the leg that's going up, that knee wants to stay bent at 90 degrees. So we'll just do 1 or 2 each side. Just making sure you're keeping your spine pretty neutral as well. And you're just pushing up away from the ground through your hands just to activate all your back muscles and the shoulders. Okay, good. Let me know if the pace is too fast. It's always a challenge when I can't see anybody to know if everyone's doing all right. And I know some of you might be familiar with the moves already, so alright. So now we're going to just link the two together. So the side kick through we did, we're going to basically go from that into the scorpion reach. So you're going to go up onto your hands and knees, or feet and hands, your knees off the ground, pivot on the ball, heel down to break, straighten that leg out, and then from there you're going to not let this foot touch the ground. You're going to basically go back onto both hands into that scorpion reach movement, and then come back again into the side kick through. See if you can just switch between the two for like 2 repetitions. Just getting used to that feeling. And try it on both sides as well, because one side might feel different to the other. So just on your hands and knees, bringing the knees off the ground, pivot on the ball of your foot, kick that bottom leg out straight, and then you're going to bring the hand to the ground and kicking that leg up into scorpion reach movement, and then back into the side kick through. One more into the scorpion reach, and then just resting down. And shake the wrists out again. You can do a little bit of wrist waves if you need to. So not a lot of people will follow along to the recorded version as well, which means you can at least pause it and practice and go back to the moves so you've got more time with them. This is more of a little bit of a rushed version, I guess. So what I wanted to do then is just link those 3 movements together. So starting with the side kick through, moving into the scorpion, and actually making that a full scorpion movement. So that's just going to look like what we did. Instead of stopping there, you're going to try and come all the way over. So the way you do that is you're transitioning your weight from the ball of your foot onto the outside of your foot onto the heel. And that sort of acts as your brake. So you want to really control that part of the movement, slow the movement down so you can land this leg on the ground without sort of just flopping over. So basically, it's going to be kicking up, you're on the ball of your foot, you're going to shift onto the outside of your foot, and then you're going to bring this hand up off the ground and land down with the bent leg. So you should finish here, and then all you're going to do is bend your knee and put your hand down to land up in that same position that we did at the beginning. So I will show you what that all looks like as a flow. Starting with the side kick through first. So on your hands and knees, you're just going to prop your knees off the ground. You're going to bring one leg through and pivot on the other ball of your foot to a straight leg. Then from there, you're going to bring that leg back, hand goes back on the ground, That leg kicks up into the scorpion, using the outside of your foot to brake, and then you're going to land this leg down bent, and you're on your heel here. This hand comes down and this knee bends. And then what you can do is go into a side kick through again, just bringing this hand up and shifting back to your hands and knees into a side kick through. So I'll show you that again. I'll try and stick to the same side as well to link them all together. So on your hands and knees come off the ground, pivot on the ball of your foot, kicking the bottom leg out straight. You're going to bring that leg back, place your hand on the ground, keep bringing that leg round to behind you. Use the outside of your foot as a brake until your foot lands up on the ground with the knee bent and you're on the heel of the other foot. Then you're going to bend the knee, place the hand down so you land up on both hands and knees with the knees bent. Then you're going to basically bring your outside hand and other foot round back to this, oh sorry, I got myself confused there, back to this position, not kicking your leg back, but going to the side kick through. And then from there, kicking your leg back, using the outside of your foot as a brake, landing up back there again, placing your hand and foot back down on the ground. So I'll just get your practice in maybe 2 of those first up on each side, just to try and get used to the movement and the flow of it as well. So I'll just do 2 more reps, trying to go the opposite way, so you can see both directions. So on your hands and knees come off the ground, pivot on the ball of your foot, bottom leg straightens out, your other arm pulls back, and you're going to place the hand on the ground, kicking the leg back behind you, using the side of your foot as a brake, onto the heel of your foot, into this position with your leg bent, and your foot come back onto the ground. Then you're going to bring, shuffle across for room, you're going to bring opposite hand and foot off the ground, pivot on the ball of your foot to come back to your facing down position, place the other foot down so you can do a side kick through on that side with the straight leg. Kicking back all the way into the scorpion, braking with the foot and landing up in that position. Bending the knee with the hands behind you. And that's the little flow you guys can learn. Probably a good idea to re-watch the video. I'm planning on sharing it probably, well, after this really. So you can actually go in, watch it, you can pause it, and yeah, see if you need to rewind anything or pause anything and practice before you move on. How do you feel? Do you want to go through one more flow of that, or we can finish on a bit of a little spinal mobility one as well as an option? We might finish on that, I reckon. It's a good way to finish. Because a lot of that flow all at once can be quite tiring on the wrists. So we'll just finish on the waveform, which is just basically, it's the one I did in the beginning of the last session. So we'll stay on our hands and knees. Your hands will be a bit further forwards than you normally would have them. Just sitting back into the hips. And you're going to shift your weight up, arching the back up, bring in the hips. If you need to shuffle your hands forward, you can. Bring in the hips towards the ground. Just to a comfortable position where you can feel a bit of extension. You don't want any discomfort in your back though. You can squeeze the glutes a little bit just to make sure you're not going into your low back. Pushing the ground away from you through your hands. Just lengthening through the spine. If it's comfortable, you can look up. And then tucking your chin back down. Pushing the ground away, separating your shoulder blades, and arching your back up until you land up in that start position, back into your heels. And then again, shifting forwards, arching your back up. Hips come towards the ground, just to where it's comfortable for you. Again, if you need to, you can go down to your forearms. If that position isn't comfortable in your hands, you can just be down on your forearms in this position and just focus on lengthening through the top of your head, just to really lengthen your spine and breathe into your belly. And just holding that position, doing that is quite a nice stretch as well. Otherwise, you can be up on your hands. And then you're going to tuck your chin in, push the ground away, arching up through the back, sitting back into your heels. And we'll just stay in this position just for a couple of breaths into your belly. Breathing in, really relaxing your abs. When you breathe in, you should feel like you expand through the front of your belly, your back, and the lower ribs as well with each inhale. So you really want to try to relax that whole area in your abdomen when you're breathing in. Just imagine it filling up with air, and then exhale, let all the air come out. And just go for 2 more breaths.